C. I feel like this is the first time I wrote you a letter when we first met. I love you, and Lily loves you. If I let them take her and vaccinate her and brainwash her, I wouldn't be doing what's right. I cannot let a judge tell me how my daughter should be raised. We will miss you, but I had to leave.
Megan and I always had a lot in common. She was my kid sister. Everything seemed normal until, we started growing up. When we were a little bit older in high school, we started growing apart. She, changed all the time. She had different friends and she was into different things.
She just was always changing her personality. She never really had a personality of her own. It was whatever her friends decided to do. They were lesbians, they were goth, they were... she even came to church and sang in the choir. She went from one extreme to the other.
I don't think she really knew what she wanted to be or what she wanted to do. She was trying to find herself, maybe.
When you look back at this erratic behavior, jumping from crowd to crowd, friend to friend, trend to trend, you gotta know that this is gonna affect her ability to make a good judgment, which would certainly negatively affect the people in her life.
Megan was very bubbly. She was what I consider a little weird at the time because she's just very into different cultures, different languages. When I first met Megan, I was a swing shift manager at the local McDonald's, and she was just a regular employee cashier. I would work the night shift. She would close with me, so she'd be getting off at the same time. Things become a little more personal. And then, we started hanging out outside of work. And it just kind of progressively became more than just a friendship.
Robert, he knew what he wanted with life. He knew that he wanted to finish school. He knew he wanted to buy a house. He knew all these things ahead of time, so I said, well, maybe this will be good for her,
Here Megan was,
When I got the text message that she was breaking up with me, all I could think about was, I couldn't understand why, and I couldn't understand why. I've done everything I can to financially be ready, do anything that any other father-to-be would do. I'm sitting there thinking, what did I do wrong? What happened?
After they broke up, it's
the talk. As a father, when you're unmarried and have a child in the state of Florida, you have absolutely no rights until you seek those parental rights. I might see Lily for 2 or 3 hours if I'm lucky, once a week, maybe twice a week for a half an hour. When Carlos came into the picture and they moved in together, there was no chance at all that I was going to be in this child's life. Megan was fixated on, well, she has this new boyfriend and this is Lily's new family. A lot of information I found out about Carlos was through the social media. A lot of it was through YouTube itself, because he has a YouTube page. And some of the people didn't like what he had to say, so they would call him and threaten him. And he went on his YouTube page and made a video.
To the retarded people, I live on Street, Sunrise, Florida. So if you're gonna come get me, come get me. I don't need a gun or anything else. You wanna beat somebody up or show what a badass you are, this is where I'm at. I ain't no badass, but I ain't scared of any of y'all.
As the parent of 4 children and being involved in children's issues since 1981, I can't look at Carlos Lester's videos and not be concerned and disturbed. This is not the guy that Lily Bauman should be hanging around with. This is not the guy that Megan Everett should say, this is my new boyfriend, thereby he is the stepdaddy of Lily.
I feel for my daughter's life every single minute she stayed in that house.
He was looking for somebody he could mold, he could train, he could indoctrinate into his belief system.
It was just like nonstop learning the Confederacy.
I knew that regardless of what Megan was doing, as long as she was living in a house with Carlos, it wasn't a safe environment for Lily. He belongs to a group called the Virginia Flaggers, based out of Richmond, Virginia.
Sweet, now I shoot.
Who are the 3 people on Stone Mountain?
Jefferson Davis, Stonewall Jackson. Am I right?
So far.
It was just like nonstop learning the Confederacy.
Pretty much, Lily was the Virginia Flaggers' poster child. They loved to take pictures of her with Confederate hats and shirts and bibs. I don't see her playing with toys in any picture. I see ammunition. He's allowing my daughter to play with live ammunition. I spoke to Megan about it, and it was, oh well, you know, take me to court.
Robert Bauman came into me very concerned about his daughter, Lily. So I told him, he needs to establish formal paternity and also request custody.
I got to know Robert very well as a parent. He asked me to write him a character reference to take with him to court. It was about Lily's best interest. So siding with Robert was the right thing to do.
The mother's own mother was prepared to testify for Robert, and the mother's own sister was prepared to testify. Now that is a total oddity. Usually blood is thicker than water.
It was going to be her way or no way. The baby was going to go to no school. It was not going to socialize. It was not going to get its vaccinations, and it was not going to learn about anything but the Confederacy, and something had to be done about that.
When I was walking in the court, I was sure I was going to get full custody.
We felt we had a strong case going to trial because we had the evidence. So, and the evidence was through this Carlos Lester's guy and through Megan herself posting those things.
The judge gave them 50-50 shared custody. Robert would have Lily for an entire week from Tuesday to Tuesday, and then Megan would have Lily for an entire week from Tuesday to Tuesday.
And that was it. My child was still allowed in the environment. My child was still allowed to be around this Confederate organization. He put no limitations whatsoever.
The information that we have of the Virginia Flaggers is, from our perspective, they're a completely legitimate organization.
I know how tough it is for family court judges. I know their days are 12 to 14 hours. I know they're overwhelmed, but somewhere that judge has to sit there and say, as tired as I am, as sick as I am of these continuing cases, I've got to think about one thing, the welfare of this child. I have to say, in this instance, I think the judge made a very bad decision because it gave Megan Everett plenty of time with joint custody to plan a run.
I got my daughter that first week, and then I brought her back. I went to pick her up on May 13th. I knock on Carlos's door. He opens the door, and he says, "Megan doesn't live here, she moved," and he slammed the door in my face. So, I called the Sunrise Police Department. I went there, and there is no sign of a child or Megan, or any clothes or baby stuff or anything. And reality kind of hit me. And then the panic hit me. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to find her? Where do I go from here?
There's a very high likelihood that she had assistance both financially and logistically to get out of this area.
One flagger responded to me. One.
We traveled right to Carlos Lester's home. He told us right from the beginning, they're gone, and you're not gonna find them. Initially, we got the impression that he may have known more than he led us to believe. This is a letter that was authored by Megan Everett, and it was directed at Carlos Lester's. It says, "Dear C, if I let them take her and vaccinate her and brainwash her, I wouldn't be doing what's right. I cannot let a judge tell me how my daughter should be raised. We will miss you, but I had to leave. I know she will be safer and happier with my family and I. Love, Meg and Lily."
She says, "I'm with family," and I'm thinking, I've exhausted every family member, and she's not with any of them.
There's a very high likelihood that she had assistance both financially and logistically to get out of this area. Carlos Lester's, in our opinion, hasn't had any criminal involvement at this point. He's assisted us with this case, and as far as we know, he has no information about their whereabouts.
I sent them all an email when she went missing. One flagger responded to me. One. And do you know what he said? "Is this a joke? I know this little girl." And I said, "No, it's no joke. This is her grandmother. She's really missing." And he got offline for a little while, and he came back on, and he said, "I don't know anything." And that was the end of it.
A parental kidnapping, in this instance particularly when the mother takes the child, I don't believe law enforcement is so quick to immerse themselves fully into the investigation, because the opinion basically is the baby's with their mother, really, is there any harm coming to her?
There are so many pluses and advantages to the non-custodial parent, the fleeing parent, and there are so little resources for the parent that was left behind, the parent who has been violated, who desperately needs their children. Usually it starts with the fact that law enforcement doesn't take it that serious. They go, you know, the little girl's with her mother or she's with her father. It couldn't be that bad. It's not a serial pedophile or a kidnapper. And that's mistake number one.
If I had to narrow it down, I would say that they're somewhere in the southeast region of the United States, just based on the information that we have so far.
The longer she stays away, the worse this gets. If she ever expects to have any kind of a relationship with her daughter in the future once she's caught, it's better if she just turns herself in. And she will be caught. It's just a matter of time.
I don't believe that Lily is safe at all. I think if something was to happen to my daughter, I don't think Megan's gonna go and seek medical attention. I don't think she's gonna do anything to help the child. I want my daughter to be found. I want my daughter to be safe.
The most important thing is and always has been Lily's safety. I want her to be with people who care about her first and foremost. And that's with Robert, and that's here with her family.
Megan Everett has distinctive chickenpox scars on her chest, arms, and face. She's known to change her hairstyle and hair color frequently. She's also believed to be with her 3-year-old daughter, Lily Bauman, who has curly brown hair. If you've seen Megan or Lily or have any information about their whereabouts, please call 1-866-THE-HUNT or go online at cnn.com/thehunt. You can remain anonymous. We'll pass your tip on to the proper authorities, and if requested, will not reveal your name.
Johnny Napier seemed like a real nice, everyday person that you'd meet on the street. He did painting, restoration work on vehicles. He also did handyman work, carpentry kind of stuff.
I was the assistant manager at Taylor's. It was a gas station. Johnny Napier used to come in and he would buy us cigarettes every morning. He started talking to me more like, oh, you know, where are you from? You have family here, you know, stuff like that. Do you need some help at the house with your kids, or just that's pretty much how he was.
At some point during the relationship, John made an offer to Jennifer to start picking her daughter up from school to help alleviate any costs associated with babysitting.
Many, many pedophiles that I've run across over the years are the most charming, helpful members of the community. We all know about the pedophile priest. We all know about Jerry Sandusky. Everybody knows about those type of pedophiles, but they never think it can happen to them.
He lived directly behind where I worked. And he would take her to the house for a little while. My daughter at that time was around 7 years old. And he would just spend time with her, he'd help her with her homework, give her a snack. Just, you know, basic after school stuff, everything seemed pretty normal.
It was just a normal day, and me and Jennifer's daughter were just at her house, and we were just talking. When it came to bringing up Johnny, talking about Johnny, saying anything about him, she was kind of acting like a little strange. I said, "Is there anything going on that shouldn't be going on? Is someone hurting you?" And her response was just, she just looked at me then looked at the ground and said no. But it was like one of those kind of no's that you know that something happened, but she was just scared to say something happened. At that point, I just decided to go to her mom and tell her that, look, I think that you need to go have a talk with your daughter and see what's going on.
We had taken my daughter and just asked her, has anybody ever maybe made you uncomfortable or touched you in any way you didn't like, or maybe that you thought was wrong or uncomfortable? And she just sat there, and she had this distant look on her face. And I could tell, sorry.
That moment for parents is a nightmare, and I think two emotions flood through them. I can't believe it happened to my most precious possession, the person, the thing that I love the most in the world, and number two, guilt.
I called the police and told them, I was like, we just found out something horrible about my daughter. We found out she's been sexually abused.
On July the 8th, we met with John Napier at his residence and arrested him for that offense.
I was like, thank God he's he's in jail. He's at least can't be near anyone or any more kids, and hopefully, you know, this will be the end of it.
A few days after being arrested, John Napier was able to make bond.
I went ahead and agreed to bail Johnny out because he was a low risk, and then Johnny had absolutely no criminal record. I don't even think he had a speeding ticket. Monday morning when we go to court, he's not in the courtroom. I thought, oh my God, he's gone. He's on the run.
We didn't hear anything about him, nothing at all. He just vanished into thin air. I was terrified. You know, who's his next victim gonna be?
He would have pretty much total access to her while they were in the basement.
I guess in our minds at the time, we were doing the right thing.
Sean Denning came into town in approximately May of 2011. Took a job at a nursing home facility as a maintenance type worker.
We're always looking for help when we owned the business, and I got a phone call from a guy named Sean Denning, and I hired him over the phone.
Well, he seemed like a very likable person. He had a southern drawl, and it looked like he had some business experience and whatnot, and so he seemed like a good suit.
And who was Sean Denning? Of course, he's Johnny Napier. Arrested in Texas, makes bond, jumps the bond, gets a new identity, drives north to Montana. Pedophiles are better than any car salesman you ever encountered in your life. They know how to pick the game, they know how to pick the target, they know how to get inside the defenses, and they know how to manipulate. And they're the best at it.
Over time, he became, very valuable to the business and to our personal lives.
Classic setup. Where does Johnny Napier live? In the basement. Who's upstairs? Grandma. Who lives next door? Dana, with a beautiful 4-year-old daughter. His dreams have come true. He's inside.
He came in and he treated her like she was his own child, and they played together, and it didn't seem anything other than a father-type figure.
He bought her a mouse for Christmas, and she, of course, was excited about it and everything. And it was going to live in his bedroom.
My mom got very, very sick in 2011. She flew out to see some doctors in Seattle. So during that time while she was out there, whenever I got called into work or after my daughter got out of daycare, she would go spend time with Sean. And sometimes that meant her spending the night there. In April of 2012, my daughter and I were laying in bed watching a movie, and she tried to put my hand on her private areas. And I told her, no, we don't do that. And she said, well, Sean does it. She was actually still potty training, and we were still wiping her when she went to the bathroom. We were showering her, and that included Sean. He did all that with her too. So there was also the question of, is that what she meant by him touching her there? So what my mom and I decided was that we weren't going to let her be alone with him again, just in case.
And he said, I would never, and I mean, he looked me in the eyes, and I would never touch your granddaughter, and I'd never do anything like that. I love her, and on and on and on.
He seemed very genuine. He almost looked like he was going to cry. I don't know, the more I looked at him and I thought what I thought I knew about him, I was like, there's just no way he could ever do this. He's not that type of person. So, I guess in our minds at the time, we were doing the right thing, because we were protecting her by not letting her be alone with him, but it should have been protecting her by not letting her ever be around him either, instead of just not being, yeah.
He would have pretty much total access to her while they were in the basement. Robin was very ill at that time, slept a lot. Dana worked the family business and was at work quite often, so she wasn't even there to watch her child. She would have grandma watch a child, which really was Sean watching the child.
I don't know. I just know how horrible this sounds. How stupid I was to believe him, and
In the summer of 2013, a relative of Robin and Dana's gets wind that Johnny Napier, alias Sean Denning, is molesting this 4-year-old girl. This relative does the right thing, takes matters into her own hands, calls child services in Montana.
We spoke with Dana on the phone and told her to go to the child protection office in Miles City and that we would meet with her there. We knew at that time that she had Sean Denning with him.
on our way over to the office, he said, well, just drop me off at the bank here. I want to get some money out.
He told her that he would meet up with her later. That later never came.
Never saw him again.
The DNA produced negative results. Facial analysis produced negative results.
Sean Denning did not exist. We had nothing on Sean. Not one of the references patented out on his employment application. He made up numbers, made up names. It was pretty obvious that the Social Security card was falsified. Sean Denning did not exist. We did multiple search warrants of the home. The first search warrant, we went in with the sole intention of trying to identify who Mr. Denning was in real life.
Unfortunately, the prints that were obtained produced negative results. The DNA produced negative results. Facial analysis produced negative results. Conventional searches produced negative results. We decided it'd be in our best interest to get out a seeking information flyer.
January of 2014, I got a call from an acquaintance of Johnny's. He said, Ruth, Johnny's picture's on Facebook, but he's not using his real name. When I saw the poster, I said, oh my God, that's Johnny. He's been in Baker, Montana all this time, and I've been looking for him in Texas. Took a deep breath. I gathered up my notes, and I contacted the FBI.
When she provided the name, I obtained a driver's license picture for the state of Texas for Johnny Napier, And I could see it was clearly the guy we knew as Sean Denning. There was no doubt about it.
I hope that he is found, because he's not gonna stop. This is not the end. Montana was not the end.
Just when we were about wrapping up this story on Johnny Napier and getting ready to put it on air, an amazing thing happened. A man who was living in a trailer park in Springfield, Missouri, recognized Johnny Napier's picture from a flyer on social media. And he did the right thing. He made that call.
New information right now about one of the FBI's most wanted, captured in Springfield. Police say someone who lived near Johnny Napier recognized the man from Facebook photos and turned him in. He was arrested, but not without an hours-long standoff.
Police had their guns drawn right behind that tree over there at this mobile home park right over here. And as you can tell, there's toys in front of the mobile home park. She says he was a handyman around town, and she's just in shock, and he helped everyone.
Johnny Napier has been charged in Texas with indecency with a child, a second-degree felony. It carries a possible prison sentence of 2 to 20 years. In Montana, he's been charged with 2 counts of sexual intercourse without consent. He'll be tried in Texas first. This case is what I've been talking about for years. Classic child predator, moving from state to state, one step ahead of the law, multiple victims. And the only reason his career was ended, because of you. You made the difference. You had the courage to make that call. That's how we catch these guys.
I think he's a horrible person who deserves to go to prison and tell all the prisoners he's a child molester and let him get some of his own medicine, and then he can die.